Morning. I'm the Reverend Dr. William L. Johnson III, here with our morning meditation. Every week, we share these messages that we hope will encourage and inspire you along the way. And we hope this week is nothing short of anything that we've ever done before. I'm excited about this message, as I'm always excited about these messages because they speak to my heart first. As we are navigating through this journey, as we look around us and as we see so much happening in our lives, we are aware that we are met with challenges left and right. Sometimes many of us are, taxed with heavy lifting. We are having to carry the load of our families. We are looking after our loved ones. Some of us are dealing with our own health challenges, some big, serious health challenges, and some of us are just achy and sore and struggling with things like colds or COVID or RSV or whatever it is that's happening in your life. I want you to know that we're praying for you and we're thinking of you as we journey along. Our morning meditation today is entitled Doing What We Do. Doing What We Do. I'm reminded of a story. It's a story, an Indian story, but from India. But I think it speaks to any of us. And I'm going to paraphrase the story a little bit without telling it exactly the way it is. The story starts with a wise man, a wise person who was on his way out, as he does every morning, to wade in the water of a nearby lake. And when he gets out into that lake, he wades out there in the water, and there, while he's there, he begins his time in prayerful meditation. But every time he's on his way back and when he gets ready to emerge out of the water, he comes out and he blesses everything around it. But one particular morning, as he's on his way back in from his prayerful time out on the water, he sees a poisonous spider that is there seeming to struggle out on the water. And so he cups his hand and he reaches underneath the spider, picks it up to bring it ashore so that the spider would be safe. And as he's about to let the spider down, sure enough, the spider bites him. And he wonders, why did you bite me? And the spider says to the man, well, I just do what I do. you know, and the man didn't know that the prayers he'd been praying, and the spider didn't know that the prayers the man had been praying for the world and those around him had made him so immune to the poison that he was bitten with. So the next day, he goes out again, and surprisingly enough, he sees the same spider struggling on the water, and he picks him up, cups his hand, and brings him ashore as he's on his way back in from his daily prayer. And as he does so, guess what? The spider bites him again. And he looks at the spider, and the spider asks him a question. It says, now, why do you keep saving me from the water when you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do what I do. And the man said to the spider, I know you'll do what you do, and I'll keep doing what I do. I love that story because I think it is indicative of some of the challenges and the victories that we face daily. Sometimes we come across people and circumstances and difficulty that don't change. And even though we extend ourselves to try to be helpful, to be kind, to be loving, to be understanding, what we get in return does not reflect what we have given. Sometimes, in our attempts to help and to love and to support and to share and to give, we get back the opposite. We get back selfishness, we get back anger, we get back meanness, we get back strife, get back suffering, we get back oppression. For many of us, as we have navigated through life, the history of our nation, the history of our country, the history of the world is replete with stories of people who were good, who were exploited by those who were more powerful and those who had guns or those who had influence, who hurt them, crushed them, and tried to destroy them. And the indication for all of that history is that you never let your guard down, never let them do it again. Always protect yourself, always defend yourself, and never open yourself up to exposure, to vulnerability, to ever be hurt again. But many of us have lived our lives like that, in our individual lives, our personal lives, and in our collective lives, to never be vulnerable and never allow ourselves to be exposed and never to give our hearts again to anything or anyone. But I want to encourage you to think of the parable, the story I shared with you. It's important to keep doing what you do. If you're a good person, don't turn into being a selfish person just because you've encountered selfish people. If you are a person who is kind, don't stop being kind because you have witnessed and experienced unkindness. If you have been a person who has always reached out a helping hand, don't withdraw your hand to help just because others never helped you in your time of need. The danger in our lives is to become cynical and to be what we despise in the first place. It's interesting how in a country or in a world or in a context in which we live, we are interacting with people who are angry and frustrated and tight, and somehow their tightness, their anger, their frustration ends up reflecting back to us. And in order to protect ourselves, we end up losing ourselves. I love this story because it's a reminder to never lose the ability to keep doing what you do. If you're a person who has love in your heart, don't stop loving just because people have not loved you back. Keep loving. Because here's what I found, that in the fact that you have done what you've done, the poison cannot destroy you. This wonderful story is about the good that the man had done, the wise gentleman had done, and the ways in which he had prayed for the world and prayed for himself and prayed for others became a force field that even though he was bitten, he might have felt the pain, but he didn't feel the punishment. He might have felt the anguish, but he wasn't destroyed. And here we are as we are reminding ourselves of all the history as we come through the celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King, and we're looking forward and looking ahead into all of this wonderful history going into February. We are aware that this life that we live is packed with all kinds of disappointment and disillusionment and disrespect for that matter. But don't ever let what other people have done to you make you become something other than you are. So as the man said, as I know you'll do what you do, you'll keep biting me, you'll keep stinging me, you'll keep doing things that injure other people. But also, I was put here for a purpose to do what I do. I'll keep on saving you. I'll keep on enriching my community. I'll keep on being good no matter what it is that others have done to me that was evil. You know, there's something about that story that reminds us that we do come through. And if you reflect on your life, even when you have not been treated fairly, in some ways you've been inoculated from the evil that is so rampant around us. There's a lot happening. A lot of people are angry and a lot of people are wrestling with things. But if that's not your nature, calm it down a bit. Start with love, and you'll discover your love for the other may save them even when they may be hurting you. But in your saving them, you save yourself. I'm convinced that while we are doing what we do with each other, that there's some hope at the end. I want you to know that you are loved, you're appreciated, and you're irreplaceable. Keep doing what you do. There's an old hip hop song, I love it. It's by The Roots, and it's entitled Never Do What They Do. And I will add, just keep doing what we do. And you'll discover that in the midst of what you're doing, you'll forget about what they've done. I had an old wise person say to me when I was going through a very tough time, said, don't keep looking at the people who have set themselves against you as your enemy. Don't keep watching what they do or paying attention to what's happening or following them and trying to figure out if they're going to try to come and get you. Uh, don't try to figure out whether or not they're plotting your demise. Keep your eyes watching God because God is watching them. And I love the imagery there. God is watching those who are trying to watch me to try to do harm to me. And God says, don't you look at them. Don't worry about them. You keep watching me because I'm watching them. I trust God to watch those who would do wrong while I'm trying to do right. Keep doing what you do. God is watching you too while he's watching them. And God laughs because God knows what's happening in your life. No matter what your belief system is, I hope that you know that it's important for you to show up as you are. Keep doing what you do. You're loved, you're appreciated, and you're irreplaceable. Have a great day, have a great week, have a great year, have a great life, because I believe that we do it together. Just know that you are special indeed, and I am glad to know you and glad to be known by you. Have a good one. Have a great one. Bye bye.